Hi everybody, Bill here. Hey, thanks for taking time to spend part of your day watching another video of what we do out here in eastern Iowa. On the last video, number 132, several viewers contacted me and made me aware of comments on YouTube that the 72-inch tiller was too big and the 2038 wasn't a large enough tractor. Well, I respectfully disagree with that. I'm going to show you several reasons why I believe this 1274's 72-inch tiller is a good fit for me. You can see how I built a rolling storage frame for the tiller, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The tiller's set on the frame, and I use rubber chocks to prevent it from rolling all the way over. And you can note here note the relationship of the tiller angle to the quick attach. And I got to tell you, that hydraulic top link is one of the first attachments I would suggest you take a serious look at if you're going to have rear implements. Now what I'm doing here is I've attached that top J-hook, and then I'm going to match the angle of the tiller to the quick attach using that top hydraulic link. Once you match that up, you just lift it up, and voila, you're all hooked up and ready to go. Now you want to note that I haven't connected the second half of the drive shaft in this example. Alright, here's another connection example. As I slid the outer drive shaft over the inner drive shaft before I connect the tractor, and then I use a bungee to temporarily hold it in place, and then I repeat the connection process I showed you earlier. It's your choice, whatever you're more comfortable doing. Now if you do that, make sure that you don't run that drive shaft into your tractor, into that cover, and bend something. Just be aware it's there. And you can see I move the control lever back to the proper position to operate the rear PTO, and that's going to allow me to move that easily, make the connection very easy. I still use my protective cover, so there I'm removing it. I don't want to lose that. Notice how the PTO drive off the tractor turns freely. That allows me to line up those splines, and it slides right on. Let me get the camera to the other side and show you. You just depress this button, slide it right up there, and it's all locked on. Boy, that sure makes that easy. And don't forget and move your PTO control lever back to the proper position. Now I'd like to do a simple start sequence for the viewers that maybe haven't owned a tiller before. I start the tractor, I keep the RPM low, below 1,000, as low as it'll go. Then I engage the rear tiller. We're using that switch right there. Here's a view from the rear. Then I increase the engine throttle, and I watch for that PTO to increase to 540 RPM. And then once I've reached 540 RPM, then I would lower the tiller into the ground and slowly start my tilling. Then when I'm through with my tilling, I throttle down. I disengage the rear switch to shut the tiller off. And then I would raise the tiller. Note how fast it stops rotation. Okay, I spoke a little bit ago about tiller angle. The owner's manual warns the owner that the driveline must not exceed 25 degrees up or down. Exceeding this angle with the driveline rotating, that's important to remember, rotating can break the driveline and cause flying projectiles. That's right out of the manual. In this demonstration, I'm going to raise the tiller and show you what that angle is, and then you can see a picture of what the do not exceed drive shaft angle of 25 degrees is. So I'm going to parallel that drive shaft and try to show you where this 25 degrees is, and you can put that picture in your head. Here I'm about 23 and a half. That's pretty close for this demonstration. So just take a look at that and remember, if you've raised it all the way up, it shouldn't be running, or if you're using the top link and you're tilting it forward, I don't know why you would do that, but just picture that and do not exceed that. In my operations, if I pull it up out of the ground like I did today, I knew where I was at. I wasn't risking damaging anything, so keep that in mind. All right, we're all greased and we're all ready to go. Everything, the chain oil's checked, the grease zerks are greased, and the adjustable skid shoes are in the full down position, and that's so I can rest the tines on the trailer deck, so we're ready to go. Note that I have purchased 2 more ramps for the trailer. That has sure made loading a lot easier for me and a lot less nerve-wracking that I have the tires exactly on those 2 ramps. And you can see how handy that top link is. See how I could pull that tiller up? That angle that I was approaching the trailer with, well, it was going to cause that to collide. Here, let's watch it again. So there I'm going to hit it. So there, I just raised that angle, and boy, that's just right up on the trailer we go. My wife's my safety spotter here. You can hear her coaching me left, right, and thumbs up. That chiller there fits within the 2 wheel well covers. You can see some primer on the left fender there. I've hit it a couple of times. But just take my time, follow my wife's instructions, and up on the trailer we go. We strap it down, and we're all good. The key takeaway from this is just take your time. I came down with COVID symptoms over Memorial Day weekend and knocked me down for about 2 to 3 weeks. We're getting back on our feet now, and I hope next month we're a lot better. I sure appreciate your patience during this video and the length of time it took me to get a new one out. Thanks a lot. All right, I'm going to set that right down on the skid shoes there evenly. That way I'll be able to strap that down in the tractor, and we'll be off here real quick and off to our tilling job. All right, here we are at the homeowner's garden. This area is approximately 24 by 40 feet. Half the garden was tilled before, and the other half has not been tilled. I wanted to demonstrate how I think this tiller is properly sized at a 2038, and the width is not an issue. And I'll get into that here as we start tilling. All right, I'm not a politician, so I make mistakes, so I'm going to let this video in here and ask you if you can see what mistake I'm making right now. If you said the tiller was not plumb and leveled out correctly, you're right. When I unloaded from the trailer, I must have tilted that up to miss colliding with the trailer, and I forgot to plumb it back up when I started tilling. So my wife always checks behind me to see how deep I'm going. Usually you stick your wrist in there, and you'll look for at least wrist depth. And in this case, we were only getting a couple of index fingers deep. So right down the line here, you're going to see where I notice it, and I tilt that back up. Then that reverse action will really suck that tiller down in the ground. And I'll show you that a little bit closer here real soon. There I'm indicating to my wife how deep we're getting. Just about 2.5, 3 inches. So in this case, since this hasn't been tilled before, I'm going to go ahead and till it perpendicular when we're done. See, while we watch this, I do want to get a few shout outs to some viewers that said hello last month. Robert, he's 80 years old out in Great Falls, Montana, owns a 1025, and he said, man, it's working well for him. I'd like to say hi to Andrew out in Silverton, Oregon. He's been a multi-year subscriber. I appreciate that, Andrew. And a big special shout out to Merrick. He's living in Oslo, Norway right now. Watches from there. Said he's from Poland, Warsaw, and he's saving up for a 2038. Good luck with that, Merrick. I know you'll enjoy it. Here's what I demonstrated before. My homeowner says stop right there, so I just disengage the tiller, stop it, raise it. I don't have to worry about any rotation angles or anything like that. And it makes a nice clean cut where his lawn comes over and meets that garden. Okay, so I'm going to go back and redo this first pass because I started off so improperly set up. There, I'm getting a sign now from the wife that, as I go along here, and I'm allowing that full weight of that, I think it's 529 pounds for that unit, to get into the ground a lot better. We're getting down now to her wrist, so we're getting a nice first pass here. And we're just going to continue along. Now, as we go along here, you'll note that the tiller is a little bit wider than the tractor, so I'm not leaving my tire prints there. That's one reason I chose this. I also chose it for efficiency. I'm just looking at the owner's manual, and the actual tilling's 74 inches wide compared to the 58-inch unit. So I'm picking up another 16 inches per pass. If I have 5 gardens that day and I'm picking up 16 inches with each run, my efficiency's better, I get done earlier, and the profitability's up a little bit. I also like the large width of that when I do landscaping projects to help me establish a grade. And reading right out of the tiller's owner's manual, it specifically says this is to be used with a Category 1 3-point tractor with a 25 to 50 horsepower, and the 2038 fits right in that area. So really like this tractor to this tiller. Again, you be the judge. Listen to the tractor. I don't think it sounds like the tiller's too much for it. It's just purring along real nice. All right, there's the first pass. I'm going to go perpendicular to this. I haven't done that before, but let's see what it does. Now I'm going to let the full weight of the unit down onto the ground. And look at her go. So I thought, well, I'll pull her up a little bit. The homeowner didn't want to go quite that deep. But boy, she will really take herself down, won't she? You know, that's a nice 6-7 inch first pass. And now she wants to go real deep as we go along here. So I think you'll have to agree, boy, it really turns that soil into a nice, soft, fluffy ground. And after a couple of rains, you're going to get some good moisture down there deep. I'll tell you, this has sure been a treat because around my property, it's all rocks. And boy, to get into some nice soil here and really let that tiller show what it can do. This was a fun day for me. One thing I wanted to add, now notice I'm going to come up to the edge of his lawn, shut the machine off. There, lift it up. He gets a nice edge. If I pull it up when it's running, then it slings dirt all around this yard, and if you move around with the tiller going up, you risk scalping it. And as we get to the end, I wanted to point out, don't back up unless you shut your machine off and raise it, because if you back up, you'll bend that tailgate real quick, and that's from experience. So don't back up unless you know that gate's clear. All right, back at the shop, we're going to wash everything down, and I like to coat everything with a product called fluid film. And if you put that PTO in the proper position, then you can turn those tines by hand and get them thoroughly covered. And those tines will look brand new for years to come. Here's a picture of that timber frame rolling stand that I made. And I like to just bring the tiller in, set it down in the middle so the skid shoes are on the outside of the frame. Then I'll put a couple of rubber chalks in front of that skid shoe so it doesn't roll forward when I unhook it. And this has been working very well for me in the past. Then I disconnect the drive shaft. Again, I like to put that PTO control in the neutral position so I can turn it. And I remove the outer shaft and I store that somewhere else. That's personal preference. And here's what it looks like with the chocks holding that up, and then the tractor driving away. It stays right up there where I want it and works out very well. Say I promised Diane from out in Maine I would post the grass seed that I have such good success with here in the Midwest. So here's the instructions and the seed information. If you can use it, terrific. And if not, yeah, that's okay too. Hey, everybody have a great month. We'll talk to you soon. Be kind to each other. And thanks for subscribing and watching my videos. So long, everybody.